Hey guys, this is going to be the start of this shop video. So my car is still at the dealership getting the recall done. So I'm starting to mock up my oil pressure gauge here. This is the Innovate MTX oil pressure and oil temperature gauge. I'm only going to be doing oil pressure for now until I get a cooler or oil cooler. Then I'll put the temperature sensor in the sandwich plate, but that won't be for a while. So here's the gauge itself. I've got it put into a dash insert. This will go into the vent on the driver's side. And then I've been doing a little bit with the wiring here. So as you can see, I got this wire soldered back on because it was originally cut. I got some clear heat shrink over that because I don't have very good heat shrink right now. I ordered some, but it's taking so long to get here because of COVID-19, so I guess I'll have to wait on that. But then I've got the grounds soldered together for those and heat shrinked. And then I've got the ground for the gauge and the grounds for those soldered together here. And then I've got it coming out here, so I can just solder another wire onto here and then put a connector on the end. And my cat's trying to dig for treasure in my bag for the sensor. So stop being goofy. So now I'm just gonna probably wrap this up with electrical tape, and then I might try and use this stuff. I've had this heat shrink forever and I haven't used it for anything because it's just too big for anything I've ever used it for, so I might try and get it to work. Or maybe I'll feed it to my cat since he seems to be interested in wires. But I figured I'd kind of show this. So I got everything together here. So I just kind of threw one of those big pieces on here for no particular reason, just to kind of keep the wires together, because this is going to be going into my vent, so I kind of want to keep these from flopping around and going all crazy, going everywhere. Then down here I have some really good electrical tape just surrounding it, and then I threw some heat shrink over it, just to kind of protect the wires as much as possible. And then I didn't heat shrink up here just because the connectors are going to be exposed, that's whatever. But then I've got the positive, the ground, and then I believe this one's a headlight wire. I can't remember, I have to look at the instruction manual. But I got these sticking out here so that I can connect those to wires and then connect them everywhere in the car that they need to be connected to. So now I just gotta wait for my car to get back so I can install this guy. Alright guys, so my car is back from the dealership. So now I got the vent piece out. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how this mount goes in there. So it's actually kind of neat how this works. So this piece just pops out like this, and it looks like this is just gonna sit in there, which I put it this way. I just gotta see if everything is gonna slide through these holes, which it looks like everything should, but it might be an issue once I get to here. So I got everything in here. I actually just cut out this webbing stuff, so I could just run the wires how I wanted to run them. And then it actually all snapped together pretty easily. The piece underneath here was a little difficult to get on, but I got it all on there. Now I just have to wait for all the wires to show up. I ordered a bunch of reels of wire to wire it all up, so I gotta wait for that to get here. And then this thing will be ready to go in. So I finally ended up getting that wire that I ordered on Amazon. It's just some 22 gauge wire, some flexible stuff. It had pretty good ratings, so I ended up getting this stuff. Some of the other wired sets were pretty crappy, or had pretty crappy reviews, I should say. But this stuff seems fine. It is super flexible, and it seems like it holds up pretty well. So I guess we'll give this a try. I cut 3 different strands here. One is going to be for the power, it's going to be red. The black is going to be for the ground, and then the white is going to be for the headlight, for the dimmer switch actually. This is actually going to go to my radio. It'll go to the radio dimmer switch, so I'm going to get this stuff soldered onto here. Then I might actually cut the stuff off and then redo my heat shrink here, since I got this new stuff. And I don't know if I'm even going to have heat shrink here, to be honest, until I get it in the car and see where everything lines up. Alright, so I got these all soldered up and heat shrinked up. Now I've got this bigger piece here. I'm going to slide over the 3, and then I'm going to slide it as far down as I can and heat shrink them together. I did end up taking the tape off and the heat shrink off for now. I might wrap it up again until it hits here. But the issue is these little chunks are pretty small, so I don't want to have like a bunch of little chunks going along here because that'd look a little goofy. So I'm going to get that together, and then we'll see what I do next. So I also took my vent here and I put it in and marked where the very top was so that I could drill a hole on the very bottom. This is going to be for the wires to run through because I was thinking about putting it further back into the ducting, and I decided if I ever want to change it, it's going to be way easier to just pop this out, put some tape over this or something, or get a new bezel piece like this instead of having to, switch out the entire ductwork because I popped a hole in it. So I'm going to get the gauge in here and then get the wiring through the bottom, and then I'm going to put a couple pieces of tape around the side like that so that covers the hole completely. Alright, so here's everything together. We got the gauge in the front here with the vents around it, and then the back, these are just the serial ports things that won't be going anywhere, so those can just stick into the vent. I don't care about those. Then down here I put some tape around here just to prevent any of the heat or cold or anything like that from seeping through. It really shouldn't have been that big of a deal, but it's just kind of something I wanted to do just to do it. And of course it's not perfect, like there's going to be a little bit of a gap there because of the wire either way, but it's good enough for me. Then I got the wires coming down here, and then we got the oil pressure, and then the temperature gauge here, and then we got the power, the dimmer, and then the ground. So now I just got to basically put this in the car and then line all these wires up. But I also have to install an aftermarket radio back into the car to use the dimmer. Well, I don't need to. I could just tie this into a stock wire, but it's going to be a lot easier to tie this into something with a harness, or an extra harness, I should say. One thing that I wanted to do is get a connector right here, like a Dutch connector or whatever it's called. Get something like that here so that I can disconnect this and like pull the whole thing out. But I might do that later. I mean, it's not going to be that hard for me to pull this all back out, splice these three wires, put a connector in here, and then, put it back together. That wouldn't be hard at all. I just have to wait to order, or I just have to, wait because I have to order them. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Alright, so this might be a little hard to see, but it's, everything's in here. Got all my wiring in here, and I'm kind of measuring everything to where it needs to go. So this ground is going to be grounded to the fuse box right here. So that's going to be stretching over there. Yeah, it's kind of hard because my camera won't focus. But then the power wire, I can actually pretty much solder that right to the main power wire for the gauge. And then this white wire, I'm just going to leave long because that's going to be connected to the radio. But I don't have to connect that right away, just because I don't have the radio right now. It's out at my shop. So I'm just going to leave that kind of dangle and just tuck it up into the dash for now. And then once I get that other radio in, I'll get that all connected. Alright guys, so I got the gauge all wired in. So if we look down here, we can see we got that ADA circuit on that fuse there. Then I got the ground just bolted to that ground there on the fuse box. And then you can kind of see the white wire like right here. That's just tucked in there for now. And then the wire for the for the oil pressure sensor kind of goes up. I got it tucked behind a few things, and then it goes across over there, and then it actually goes out the hole for the noise generator or sound generator, whatever you want to call it. Then it comes out here, and then it just goes in the engine bay. I got the oil galley plug loose, or I actually got it out. Now I just have to put in the glow shift one, and I got to put the sensor into there, and I've got some tape here to make sure nothing leaks. But then I just got to get that all connected, and it's good to go. Alright, so everything's in. As you can see, got the adapter, and then the sensor, and then the plug, and it just barely fits in front of the throttle cables there. And then I moved it around a little bit back here. I kind of tucked it under stuff, and then I got the noise generator back in there. I figure for right now I'm going to keep that in there so I don't have to worry about getting water or anything on the firewall. So now it's time to start up and see what we get. And we got an oil pressure gauge. temperature isn't going to be hooked up until I get a cooler, but that's fine because I just wanted to get the pressure, make sure nothing's leaking, which, whoops, looks like we are good. So the oil pressure gauge works great. And yeah, I realized while editing that video, that fuse isn't for the heated seats, it's for the heater controls or something. So don't use that fuse. I gotta figure out which fuse I'm gonna use. I'll probably use like the 12 volt phone charger thing fuse. I forget what it's called right now. It's getting kind of late, so I can't think very well. I'll probably use that fuse. When I was testing it, I just switched the fuse into one of the constant 12 volt fuses, so I could still use the gauge, and the car's got pretty good oil pressure. But here, I've got this wired up. So where this white wire connects to is the illumination wire for the radio. So let's see if I can find it here. It's hard to look on camera. There it is. So right here, that's just spliced into the illumination wire there. Got it resoldered up and heat shrinked. So that's going to go to the gauge so that when I switch the lights on, the gauge will dim. And then I also changed another thing here. This is the parking brake wire. I also tied that into the ground just because I'm not going to be watching movies or anything on the radio. Honestly, I don't think I even can. So yeah, I'm not worried about that. But I got to get that guy installed. And like I said, I could have just tied that into a stock wire, but it's kind of cool to have that radio in there, and it's a lot easier because I don't have to splice into stock wires. But yeah, next time I record, I'll probably be doing something like my shifter. I also have to replace my accessory belt because it's really squeaky and sounds like junk. I got to do a noise generator delete. I got to do a bunch of stuff, but my voice is getting tired. I go to bed. I got to work tomorrow. Yeah. Alright guys, it's later. Today I plan on going and working on my car because my allergies are so bad. It looks like I'm stoned or something. I can't breathe. Been sneezing constantly for like 20 minutes. So yeah, hopefully these allergy meds kick in and I'm gonna go start taking my car apart. Alright, so I got this thing pulled in here and I'm still not recording with my gimbal just because I'm not quite ready to start working on this thing yet. But I gotta get it jacked up. I gotta get the exhaust off so I could put my other exhaust back on. Woo! Forget allergies. Holy shit, I'm sneezing like crazy. Then I gotta put the suspension back on. I'm probably gonna put the wheels from the Legacy on here, if I can breathe, so that I can go and do skids and not have to worry about destroying these tires. And then I gotta put the shifter on. I gotta put this guy, this IRP. This thing is sick. I'm super excited to use this thing. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, I wanna get that installed today as well. So I guess we'll see how far I get. Alright guys, so this is kind of, I don't know how to explain it. So I just got my car back from the Toyota dealership, right? Had my valve spring recall done. And for some reason, my exhaust has sounded like total shit. And I think I found why. So if we look, there's a fucking bolt missing, and this bolt is barely on there. My overpipe wasn't even bolted to my damn header. That's concerning. That's concerning. Alright guys, so I got the Tomei manifold on, and also I was noticing that, I don't know, the engine mustn't have been sealed pretty good because there's a good bit of oil here, and there's a good bit of oil over here behind the timing cover, which is great because that's not good, but whatever, I guess. Had to get the recall done, and now everything's leaky again, even though it was supposed to not be leaky, but whatever. But yeah, I have to get some exhaust bolts because the ones that were on here were kind of strippy dippy, so gotta get some new ones of those. But I think I'm gonna take a break for a while. My head is killing me because my allergies. So I think I'm gonna go home, take some meds, take a nap or something, and come back later. Yo, it's another day. So I got my stock shifter out. I just have to take the two carrier bolts out and then pop the two pins on the side and then put the new shifter in. So I just gotta crawl under the car and do all that. All right, so everything is out except for the little shifter rod. If you crawl underneath here, you can see there's no shifter, I don't know, supports or whatever they'd be called. I got those out pretty easily. I just loosened up the carrier, drive shaft carrier bolts, took these bolts out, and then just kind of lowered the trans down to the jack. I kind of had to pull it down a little bit with my hand because of the weight of the engine, but it works pretty good. Got everything out. Now I just got to get the new shifter in. All right, so here that's everything bolted up. Got first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth gear, and then reverse is the lockout like that. So we can get that out. I noticed the lockout's a little sticky, so I don't know if I can adjust that or whatnot, but it's whatever. I love it. It feels so good. Alright guys, so it's been quite a while since I last recorded. Since I last recorded, I got my wheels on here. Let's see, I kind of adjusted the back a little bit. Looks goofy now because it's on dollies. I ended up getting some Harbor Freight dollies, and for the back it's fine. The front ones I broke almost instantly, so I just made some 2x4 dollies, and then I'll probably end up getting different casters for those, just so I know I'm safe. But I went out and did 2 drift events. My first one, I was kind of junk at driving. I also had issues with the car. Traction control stayed on a little bit and it did panic braking, so I spun out like every time. But then I went back another day, pulled the ABS fuse, and I did pretty good. I'll put some videos in quick. But one thing I noticed is I have a little bit of angle, but I could use some more. And I did run into issues where I was rubbing the inner tie rod at full lock with Megan inner tie rods and the white line bump steer kit. So I need to get spacers, but I also ordered a set of drift knuckles. So I got to take my knuckles off and ship them out to them. And yeah, so I just got to take the wheels off, take the brakes off, pop the ball joints, get the tie rods off. And while I have everything apart, I think I'm gonna order new ball joints because both of my ball joints are pretty bad. And I have one extra one, but I still need another. So I want to replace those. And I kind of want to do extended studs and then get some slip-on spacers. And then I'm just gonna let the fenders kind of roll themselves when I'm drifting because these fenders are so junked already. Might as well just let them roll and pull themselves. So yeah, I gotta take all this stuff apart and then I'll kind of update as I go along. Yeah, so you can see this is my driver's side wheel. You see where the tie rod was rubbing here. Luckily, it doesn't look like I cracked the barrel or anything. But yeah, you can definitely see it was rubbing. It was definitely screwing up some transitions that I was trying to do. Because I was trying to do some manjis, and I know my buddy Kevin didn't record a whole lot, but I was having issues with it going to full lock. Then the steering wheel would kind of bounce. Adding a little bit more front camber did help, but I noticed when I was on my way to or from the track, I ran something over in the road and it went into my condenser. So I hope air conditioning still works. I mean, if it doesn't, I'm just gonna pull everything off. But I was grabbing a ladder because I needed a ladder to get up and down from the loft, and I borrowed a friend's ladder, and I thought it was the same size because his fits in my car perfect. And I could have just brought the Legacy, which isn't here right now, and not had an issue, but my dumbass put the ladder in here and I cracked my windshield. So I don't really want to spend $400, or it actually will probably be close to $550 to get my windshield replaced. So I think I'm just gonna leave it right now. Honestly, I'm not even mad because there's so many little not cracks, but little divots everywhere. The windshield looked like shit anyways. So it was about time for a replacement either way. But yeah, now I'm gonna start taking the suspension off, and I might do brakes depending on how the pads look. I guess I could kind of look now. I mean, they're not terrible, but I might still do them. I might paint the calipers black with my heat, paint, just so it kind of looks a little cleaner, but I don't know, we'll see. I gotta pull everything off and then get the knuckles off, and then send them the knuckles tomorrow, and then wait for the new drift knuckles to get here. Then I gotta either do extended studs with slip-on spacers, or I gotta do like regular hardened studs with bolt-on spacers, and then not rub the shit out of my tie rods. Also, I've been running the saw blades in the back for drift spares, and they work pretty good, but they stick out super far, and that's because it's kind of sketch. I have a Project Kicks 5x114, or 5x100 5x114 adapter. It's like, I don't know, that thick. And then I have an 1.25 inch 5x114 to 5x120.7 adapter so that I can run the saw blades. So, I don't know, I don't really like it. My buddy Matt is going to be giving me some cozies. And actually, homie's moving into the shop with me, so it'll be sweet. He wants to learn how to drift. He wants to get a project car, so he's going to be moving in his toolbox on the side of mine there. And then we'll be total drift gang. Waterboy Clubhouse. Yup. Yeah, I'm going to stop wasting your time, and I'm going to get the stuff apart and then update you once I get it all apart. All right, so I got the brakes off. I actually just left the rotor on here for now, just so I don't have to worry about accidentally stepping on the brakes or something stupid and then pushing the piston too far out. But these hubs should be pretty easy to get out because these are fairly new. I replaced the front wheel bearings not too long ago, so I shouldn't have an issue getting these out, knock on wood. But I had to get the tie rods off, and it looks like my boots are torn on the tie rods as well, so I'm going to be replacing those. I actually have like 3/4 of another bump steer kit. I have one ball joint, and then I have the 2 tie rods. And obviously I'm gonna have to take the tie rods off anyways because I believe Drift Knuckles sends new inner tie rods, so I'll have to get those on. But I gotta get everything off. I gotta get the brake shield off, gotta get the strut disconnected from the knuckle, and then get that all out. But I think I'm gonna get the hubs out first before I do anything else. So I'm gonna turn the wheel all the way to the left and then get the knuckle out because, yeah, I mean, this thing had pretty good angle at the track, but I just feel like for $400 for full custom knuckles, or not full custom, but custom knuckles and then the inner tie rods and stuff, it'd be a really good place to start because the car has decent enough angle now, but it would just help when there's times where I still spin out, which is kind of cheating, I guess, but it's just something I want to do. I always think it's cool to have crazy angle, and it's something I want to do because my only plans for this car is to drift it. That's all I have planned. Like, I don't care about cosmetics at all, really, to be honest. Actually, there was one point in time where I was out on the skid pad and I tried to slow down my wheel speed and go really far out and then clutch kick just to kind of get used to clutch kicking and then keeping the counter steer good so I didn't spin out. And I slowed down way too much, straightened out, and then went into a dirt pile off the track. So my bumpers got some marks and shit from that, which honestly is okay because this bumper's kind of junk. Not junk, it's just scratched. It's seen better days. So yeah, now get the rest of this stuff off, and then work to the other side, and then I'll update you once I have both of the hubs off, the brakes, the heat shields, and then I have to get the ball joints out. Wow, so you can really see how much these ball joints were binding, and wow, tie rod, boots, junk. These things have been on the car since I got them. For 2.5 years now, but that's pretty crazy. So now I just got to take out the 4 bolts for the hub, and hopefully that'll come out relatively easy. Bearing still feels super good, but like I said, I'm gonna replace these studs, so I just got to get those 4 bolts out, get the hub out, and then I think I might just fully disassemble this side before I move to the other side. I think that makes a lot more sense than trying to do each one at different times. So alright guys, so the first one was a success I should say, can't speak. Yeah, I can see these ball joints, I've seen better days, but here's the knuckle, got it out. Hub was super easy to get out, just tapped it on each side a little bit. I'll pound these studs out, and I might wait till I get other studs to do that, just for in case I decide not to do it. So now I just gotta start on the other side. Everything came loose pretty easy. I'm using this Milwaukee socket set with this big boy Milwaukee ratchet, and honestly, thing's a beast. Didn't have any issues getting, getting anything off at all. All right, so I got both knuckles off, the hubs out and everything, super easy. It was really easy to get everything out. So just gotta take the tie rods off. Probably not gonna do that tonight though. And then I have to get the ball joints out. That's gonna be fun. But yeah, everything went pretty smooth so far. So now I just gotta, now I just gotta send these in and then get the new ones. Then it'll be shit tons of angle, boys. Excited. But I think that's where I'm gonna leave the end of this video. This video is kind of weird because there's so much going on. I put the shifter in, the oil pressure gauge, and then I got my helmet here. But yeah, it was real fun at my first events. If I didn't put those videos in there earlier, I'll put them in now at the very end. Actually, that's probably what I'll do, just because it'd be a cooler outro. But yeah, leave a like if you liked, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you in the next one when I either get the new knuckles or I start doing something else. I kind of wanted to do the control arm bushings just for shits and giggles, but I don't know yet. We'll see. I gotta do some research, I gotta get some studs, gotta get ball joints. I got a lot of stuff to do. Peace.